What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, they just had the draft lottery for the NBA 2022 draft a few nights ago. I believe it was Tuesday night. And today, I just want to go over a mock draft that I found. I wanted to look at the ESPN one. They have that blocked with the ESPN Plus subscription. I do actually have it, but I couldn't find my login information. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to access that one today. But we're in one of the next best ones. There's an option between Bleacher Report or Sports Illustrated, and I did a Bleacher Report video a while back. Their predictions for the trades I looked at were not that great, so I'm going to go ahead and try out the Sports Illustrated one and just see what they have going on. Because obviously this is a pretty big draft. We've got some great prospects. I'm pretty sure the consensus top three is Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero. But I have, from what I've heard, the consensus number one overall pick is Chet Holmgren, but I don't know if the Magic will take him or not. I don't think you could really go wrong. I'm not personally a big fan of Holmgren. You know, he kind of has that Giannis body, but he doesn't really look like he's got the work ethic to build up like Giannis did. And hey, I mean, as I've said in multiple videos, prove me wrong, please, as a rookie, as a veteran, whatever you make it to. Prove me wrong and be a great player. That's all I can ask. But if you guys saw that recent video of him, he came out and said he was asked who the best NBA player is right now, and he said him in 2 months. So he's coming out with cockiness. He's coming out there kind of full of himself. But let's go ahead and get into these. In first overall pick right now, they have the Magic taking Jabari Smith Jr. from Auburn. 19 years old. He's 6'10", and he is 220 pounds. A forward. I like this pick for the Magic because, as we know, they have a lot of big men. They're probably going to let Mo Bamba walk, I'd imagine. They come in, they might trade Markelle Fultz, but here, if we look at this correctly, they've got Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Jabari Smith Jr., and I'm assuming they'll bring Wendell Carter Jr. back after a pretty good year for him. And that's a good lineup for the Magic. It kind of looks like maybe they get to get out of the rebuilding stage just slightly. Probably not playoffs yet, but at least maybe play in next year if that's their team. I think they could do really good, especially if Franz Wagner continues to play as well as he has. And I'm a big Cole Anthony fan. I think he's going to have a big leap next year. He already took a massive leap this year, but next year will probably be even better. But as this says right here, this would be their second or third number one overall pick. I believe they had the Penny Hardaway and then the Dwight Howard, and now this one. So yeah, the Magic have some luck when it comes to lottery, and maybe they'll make that pick for Jabari Smith. I don't think it would be a bad option for them. So second overall, the Oklahoma City Thunder, one of their two picks in the lottery, I believe. I think they have the 12th overall pick as well, but they have, Sports Illustrated has the Thunder taking Chet Holmgren, forward/center from Gonzaga. 7 feet tall, but he's only 190 pounds. He's 20 years old. This is a guy that we've been hearing about for a while now. I feel like since probably his sophomore year of high school, he's been in the media. Just you guys know on Instagram pages, posting his highlight videos, like shocked faces. Oh, this guy's a 6'8" second grader or something like that. Like, we've been hearing about Chet for a long time now, and I think he's going to be a good player. But if I'm the Thunder, I do worry about how cocky he is and just his weight. He is similar in a way to how Kevin Durant was coming into the league and how Kevin Durant still is, but I just don't know if he's got the work ethic to really drive and be as good as Kevin Durant is. But, you know, I feel like he's probably going to get into the league. He's going to be a good player in his rookie year, but then after that, I think he's going to have that moment in his rookie year where he just gets tossed around by like Giannis or Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and he's going to realize that he's got to get bigger and he's got to get better, and hopefully that'll hit him in the mind and that he understands that he won't be able to stay 190 pounds and be a dominant player in the NBA, but that's up to him to figure that out. And I would be shocked, though, if the Magic don't take him number one overall. But if they do take Jabari Smith, I think that's a good pick for them. And Chet Holmgren, yeah, he's a real good guy, player right now in college. So I think this pick would be good for the Thunder, especially beside Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, as long as they don't make any more trades. I have seen some rumored trades to send Shai Gilgeous somewhere else. We'll have to see what happens there. That's my analysis of that pick. Third overall, the Rockets are taking Paolo Banchero, a forward from Duke, 19 years old. As I got something in my mouth. 250 pounds, 6'10", I think he does play center some, or did play center some too at Duke. Obviously 6'10", he can definitely play power forward center. And that's the top 3 consensus players. Obviously the Rockets, if this goes in a different order, let's say Chet Holmgren goes first, Jabari Smith goes second, they still take Paolo. If Paolo goes second, they probably would take Chet Holmgren. It's really just whoever you're left with at that point, because I don't think they would take Shaedon Sharpe just because they have Jalen Green. And I think Paolo Banchero, you put him over there with, if they bring back Kevin Porter Jr., you've got Alperen Sengun at that power forward position / center position. I'm assuming they'll bring back Christian Wood just for at least another season. Jalen Green is there, Usman Garuba. Yeah, they really need that dominant power forward / center right there. And I think Paolo Banchero will be a good fit for the Rockets. So hopefully he falls there. I like that for them a lot. And the Kings, I really like this pick for the Kings. They've got the Kings taking Shaedon Sharpe from Kentucky. I know I've seen some people hoping he falls to the Pistons at 5, but I think Shaedon Sharpe probably better than a lot of the other prospects in the draft. And I like him going to Sacramento. I've always rooted for the Kings. They feels like they get the short end of the stick, especially the fans, but the team especially, they haven't made the playoffs they haven't even made the play-in yet. They haven't made the playoffs in forever. They made that trade where the Pacers completely fleeced Tyrese Halliburton out of Sacramento, and they got Domantas Sabonis. They got older. They got a slightly better, they thought, but they really didn't get better at all. And I think this trade or this draft does kind of replace Tyrese Halliburton. They get another shooting guard that he can go out there. He can score next to De'Aaron Fox. He's not necessarily the defensive guy that you might be looking for, but if you put him out there, if you put De'Aaron Fox, who's a above average defender, I'd say, you put De'Aaron in that point guard, Shaedon Sharpe at shooting guard, and Dante DiVincenzo at small forward if they bring him back. That's a nice defensive front court and wings right there, just with Dante and De'Aaron Fox alone. So I like Shaedon Sharpe for the Kings. I hope the Kings will take him, and I hope they'll take him and be a little better. Here we are, though. 5th overall, the Pistons are taking Jaden Ivey, according to Sports Illustrated. Sophomore, 20 years old, 200 pounds, and 6'4" shooting guard, I believe. I think he mostly plays shooting guard. They've got him listed strictly as a guard because they don't list point or shooting guard. But for the most part, you can play both of those. And after falling out of the top 3 or even the top 4 and losing the odds, even though last year they won and got Cade Cunningham, you've got to kind of feel a little that you got the short end of the stick if you're Detroit. But as they say in this, either one, Ivy or Sharpe, will be there no matter what, pretty much. I mean, you've got to be guaranteed one of those guys just because there's only 4 picks ahead of you. So the Pistons have their options there to just get an athletic scorer, a guy that can play some defense to an extent, and just be a good shooter right there beside Cade Cunningham. And I think that's definitely what they need for Cade, and with how great his playmaking is and how great his defense is. I think Jaden Ivey, with how well he shoots the 3 ball, and if he can improve it, he'll definitely be a great guy beside Cade Cunningham, and maybe they'll be the duo of them for the future. I like either one. I like Sharpe or Ivy for the Pistons. Whichever one's there really is who I would take. And at the number 6 position, we've got Keegan Murray, a forward from Iowa. He is 21 years old already, 215 pounds, 6'8", to the Pacers here at number 6. I mean, I don't know too much about Keegan Murray. I'm going to be honest. This draft is honestly probably one of the drafts that I know the least amount about the players. In previous years, like last year, I was a little bit more involved. This year, I don't know most of these players like to a degree that I should. But as Sports Illustrated says, he's got playmaking, he's got jump shooting that can improve. And Pacers are just in a weird spot right now. They just probably would want to take best player available, and if Keegan Murray's the best guy available from Iowa, you probably take that no matter what. And they don't really have options here, I would say, because you don't really need a certain position. You're not going to be great next year either way. You just want to continue to develop Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe you trade away Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason. We don't know. Maybe Miles Turner gets traded away and they start Isaiah Jackson. We don't know how good the Pacers are going to be next year, what moves they're going to make. So I feel like Keegan Murray, if he's the best guy available right there, then you take him no matter what. And you don't really care about positions. But he can also play power forward, which is a spot that Domantas Sabonis left a hole at when he was traded. Here we are at the 7th pick, and a team that really needs to make a good pick here is the Trailblazers. You know, I believe they fell a few spots. I think it was let's see who jumped up. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was the Kings that jumped up into the top 4. Yeah, I believe it was the Kings that had the 7th overall pick prediction. They jumped up into the top 4. The Trailblazers fell all the way down to the 7th pick, so not a good sign for them. I mean, what's happening with Damian Lillard's really going to be what determines this pick, and if Damian Lillard's staying, I don't necessarily like Benedict Mathurin, which is who they're predicting as that pick at the 7th spot overall. From Arizona, he is a shooting guard, 6'6", 210 pounds, 19 years old. If Damian Lillard doesn't get traded or a move doesn't happen, I don't like that pick because, I mean, you've got Dame Dolly, you've got Anthony Simons. I feel like you're kind of good at the guard position. Maybe you reach down here for a guy like Jalen Duren or trade down for Duren or AJ Griffin, somebody like that other than a shooting guard again. But as I said, if they do make a move, maybe they get rid of Simons to get a guy that's more ready right now. Maybe at the small forward or power forward position, then Benedict Mathurin makes a lot of sense. I do like Mathurin in the way he can score and defend. He hasn't really been the greatest or most efficient shooter in college, but he can definitely polish it up with the training of an NBA player. So I think this pick does fit the Trailblazers to a degree. The Sports Illustrated says it would be a supporting score around Damian Lillard. But if he can play small forward, then I'd say it's a good pick. But if he's not really going to be able to play that position, then I don't know if it would fit the Trailblazers too much. But at the end of the day, if you're a Blazers fan, you gotta feel messed up that y'all fell to 7. Dyson Daniels at number 8, guard/forward, 6'6", 200 pounds from Australia, I believe he's from. He's 19 years old. They've got Dyson Daniels going to the Pelicans. Don't know a lot about Daniels. I know he's played well in the G League, Ignite League, and that's where Jalen Green came from. That's where a few guys from last year's draft came from. And the Pelicans do definitely need guard play. I mean, Devontae Graham, he held it down the best he could. Kira Lewis Jr. could be something in the future. He's getting a little older now. He's probably, 23, 24, so he's kind of probably reaching into where his potential is going to go the most. And if they're not feeling like either of those guys are going to take another leap, which we're being honest, they're probably not going to. And next to CJ McCollum, who is a shorter shooting guard, I like Dyson Daniels as a taller point guard there. He'll be able to guard some of the taller guards in the league, and he's a decent playmaker/shooter. He has a lot of room to improve, so I like Dyson Daniels right there to the Pelicans, 8th overall. And 9th overall, they've got one of my favorite players in the draft just because as a college fan, I'm a Gamecock fan, but since I go for the Bucks and I go for the Brewers and the Packers and other sports, I do like to watch Wisconsin. I like to see them succeed. So Johnny Davis is a good guy that I'd like to see succeed going into the NBA. An elite scorer. If you guys watched any of the Wisconsin Badgers games, he was like their entire offense there at that shooting guard position. But they have the Spurs taking Johnny Davis, 6'4", 195, 20 years old shooting guard. I like that pick. I mean, if you think about it, they traded away Derek White, who was aging compared to the rest of their players. You still got Keldon Johnson. Do they bring Lonnie Walker back? We won't know. But they've still got Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl, DeJounte Murray's there. And they really need that 2-guard that can score and be a great secondary option right there to DeJounte Murray, who's a good facilitator. So I like the pick here for Johnny Davis. And I think it's something that the Spurs, it makes sense for the Spurs to do. I mean, maybe they would trade back and take a foreign player just because they always do. But I like Johnny Davis to be able to hit the 3 and be a nice mid-range offensive boost for the Spurs compared to what they had last year. Something that they really needed. And 10th overall, they've got the Wizards taking the 6'11 center from Memphis, Jalen Duren. He's only 18 years old. He was a freshman, 250 pounds. And he's not really going to be a shooter or a playmaker at the center position. He's really what you would look at and see as a honestly, if we're a couple years ago, he's probably a number 1 overall pick. Like DeAndre Ayton, he's a dominant paint center who can get rebounds, he can get blocks, and he's just an athletic guy. Don't know how much sense it makes for the Wizards considering they just traded for Kristaps. I guess it depends on if they re-sign him or not. and what happens with Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal gets traded, or he decides, he wants to get traded, so he demands a trade, then you kind of feel like they have to take a guard or a forward, because you don't want Ish Smith and Corey Kispert as your starting guards right there. Although I do think Corey Kispert can still be decent, I just don't think he's going to be a superstar in the NBA, which he was from Georgetown or Gonzaga, one of those two schools. Jalen Duren, not my favorite pick for the Wizards. I think they could get somebody better, like AJ Griffin, guard/forward from Duke. 18 years old, he's 6'6", he's one of Paolo Banchero's teammates, 220 pounds. Going to the Knicks here at 11th, sure. I mean, I don't know if he'd be the greatest pick for them. I don't know what that noise I just made was, but they're entering sort of an offseason where you got to make a decision, rebuild, get rid of Julius Randle, etc., or go back and try to go all in on winning. If they decide that's the correct route, maybe they trade this pick. But if they're not going to, I guess AJ Griffin, if he's there, is probably the best case scenario or best player available for them. And I'm interested to see what happens for the Knicks this offseason. They're always one of the biggest markets in the NBA, and when they're struggling, it's kind of funny to see in a way, but I kind of like when they're good, just because New York it's such a fun place to see games played, especially playoff games. You love to see them playing playoff games in New York. But yeah, I don't know how well AJ Griffin's going to do for them. And I'm going to kind of run through these last few. 12th overall, traded from the Clippers, Jeremy Sochan is going to the Thunder. Forward from Baylor. He'll be 19 on Friday, it says. I like that pick alongside Chet Holmgren. You kind of get a center and then a power forward/small forward and a guy that can score and play some defense. So I like Jeremy Sochan going to the Thunder. The Hornets, it looks like, reach on another strange shooting guard selection is what they're predicting. A 22-year-old guy, Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. I don't like this pick at all. If I'm Charlotte, you've got LaMelo, you've got Terry Rozier. I don't think they give up on James Bouknight, one of the later lottery picks last year, but Kai Jones is still there as well. And this article says, they didn't make much of an impact, but I think they can still be good, and I would be mad to see the Hornets give up on them, considering the Hornets are my second favorite team in the NBA, so I want the Hornets to give Bouknight another opportunity, give Kai Jones some more chances, and I don't think drafting another shooting guard is going to be the option or the answer here, so I'm going to leave that one alone. And finally, the last lottery pick, we have the Cavaliers take Malachi Branham from Ohio State, a shooting guard. I guess this makes sense considering they're probably going to let go of Colin Sexton, whether from a trade or in a sign-in trade, free agency, just lose them, something like that. So I like that draft pick for them beside Darius Garland. They get a little bit bigger there, considering Colin Sexton was a shorter shooting guard overall. So hopefully Malachi Branham could be that pick for them, and that's not a bad one. And that's all for the top 14 picks. If you guys want to see my reaction, they actually go through and they do the entire first round on this one, I believe. Yeah, it goes all the way to the 30th pick. And, they do the entire second round as well. So if you'd like to see my reaction to this entire thing, the last, 16 picks of the first round and maybe some of the second round, go ahead and hit the like button. Comment down below if you'd love to see that. Who do you guys think is going in those first 3 picks? Obviously the most important. We know who's going most likely, but what order do you see them going in? Thank you guys for watching this. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching again. I'll see you next time.